So I got my first real commission for a full-size weapon. It's under my listing for fully customized sword listing on KO Creations store on Etsy, and it is what I'm beginning to call it as the Bone Blade, because I don't know, it's all organic and things move on it, and that's just what it reminds me of. It's like bone, so that's what I'm calling it. It has the handles black, and it's got some copperish accents to it. Nope, get out. And I'm going to be doing the copper with silicon bronze, the same stuff that Michael Cthulhu made the owl sword thing from. It's just like a brazing rod that is normally used for TIG, but I can just use my oxyacetylene torch and melt it over the surface of the steel and then wire wheel it, and it comes out like a copperish. So that's what I'm doing. So this sword has the main handle, and then it has the axe blade that comes out like an axe, and then you pull this notch down and fling it, and the axe handle rotates out straight, and it turns into a short little stubby sword. So I have the design for it. This is the design that the customer gave me, and just something that he kind of sketched out on a notepad. And this is my design of it that I put into AutoCAD, and I made something that's actually realistic and functional. So first step is we got to go outside, because I bought a 6-foot long piece of 5/8 steel at 4.5 inches wide, and I can't fit it in the shop. It's 6 feet long. So we're going to go outside, we're going to cut out our pieces, and then we'll get to cutting out the shapes, and we'll go from there. So yeah, thanks for watching, and hope you enjoy the video. Come here, champ. This is Champion. If you guys haven't seen him before, he looks a little awkward being held, but he's part Chihuahua, part Corgi. He's got short little stubby legs. His penis is out right now. So yeah, here's the bar. Got a lot of cutting to do. Get it into some more manageable chunks. He's heavy. Six. They told me this was 6 foot long. I cut 6 11-inch pieces. I still have 3 feet left, which is curious to me. If anything, I underpaid for it. Alright, so now it's time to start polishing up these pieces. They're pretty dirty, but screw them down first. So we're going to start with just a sanding pad, and then we'll go to the belt sander through the grits. I'm only going to do one side of each of the 6 pieces, because I only need to polish them right now so I can see what I'm drawing on them. And then they'll get polished and shaped as I go. So pretty smooth. Look at my finger. I hit it on the corner of one of these. Got it pretty good. So now this next step is to get a printout of what I need and draw it on there and start start cutting it out. Here we go. That's what I need to cut out. Couldn't get that last bit in there. Whew, that's hot. Just a little bit around here and in here, and that'll be the rough cut, and then I'll bring it into shape. But you get the idea. Okay, so I'm ready to start the handle, but when I first started that first plate, the scale on it was like the hardest I've ever experienced before. So I'm trying the bathe the metal in the white vinegar trick. Hopefully the existing chemical that's in there doesn't affect it too bad. But yeah, so I stole this bucket from work. It held a degreasing agent, or no, a cleanser agent. So yeah. Distribute these guys evenly in here. Just need to disappear under there. Oh yeah. Put the lid back on. Stop any critters from getting there. Now it's time for the handles. Let's get started. I'm just marking all the lines with the grinder because I'm going to cut this out with the oxyacetylene because it's faster, and all these inside curves here and here and around here and around here and around here and in here, they're all super painful to get with the grinder, and it's going to take a really long time, and I'm already behind schedule with this, so oxyacetylene o'clock. Really? Man, that was a chore. So, I am polishing up. I already did the other side, now I'm doing this side. I'm not doing a full polish, I'm just getting them flat because these are a clamshell on the blade like this, and then it pivots in between them. So, I'm going to put them together, put them together, line them up as best as I can so that they match. I'm going to drill the holes for the screws and then do some more drilling so the screws go through this plate and tap the holes on this plate, and then they'll be held together. And then I'll do all the shaping on all the edges to bring them to the same shape. Wow, that's really hot. But yeah, that's what's on the to-do list. Okay, so get them roughly lined up, and then I need a clamp. Alright, so then I'm going to very lightly tack them together with the welder. Oh, they're hot, they're hot, they're hot. Alright, time to find out where I'm going to put these screws at. Start drilling holes. Alright, so I'm just going to show you guys the pilot holes, and then I'll cut to me tapping the holes. Okay, so I got the holes drilled with the countersinks for the hex head screws that I got. Hex head screw. Oh, so the heads sit flush. That one might need to go down a little bit further. Yeah. So I got to split these apart and then drill the hole bigger than the thread so that it goes through and then threads into this bottom one here. So let's split it apart, shall we? I ground the welds. Woo! That was way easier than I thought it'd be. Very exciting stuff. Pretty solid. There's a little bit of a gap, but I'll be able to fix that later. It's heavy. But now I can do all the shaping and bring them into the same shape. Whew, man, that was a lot of work. Sure is ugly right now. So I got the holes drilled for the axle, I guess I'd call it, for the axle to go through the blade and the, I think it goes the other way, like that. But this hole that I drilled for the hex nut screws, it is in the way. I have to cut away a big chunk of this from here up, like halfway in between here and here, to fit the blade in there. So what I'm going to do is fill this in with weld. But I want to get a really good join, so I'm going to preheat it first and then weld it. So that's what we're doing. And then I'll grind back and it'll be like I never even did it in the first place. Yeah, what's up? Hi. Alright. There's a little blip there, but I'm not going to worry about it right now. If it's still showing after I get done cutting all this out, then I'll fix it. So the screws that I'm using to hold the two clamshells together, they're a little too long, and there's a little bit of end play between the two clamshells. They move a little bit on each other. So what I did is I drilled and tapped a hole on this piece of scrap 1/4 inch. And I put a couple of, like 4 washers on it, so just a little bit sticks out the end, and then I take the sanding pad and grind that flat. And what the point of this is, the tapped hole preserves the threads, so when I unscrew this, it redoes the threads, so then it'll go back into the handle nice like. So do this. There you go. Little custom length screw. Alright, so last night I took the oxyacetylene and I cut the slot for the little mechanism that goes dunk, 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 like that, to engage the blade. Let's see if I can do this one-handed. So this goes in here like this. Okay. Like that, and then this goes on there like that. Okay. So it goes. I still have to cut the slots in the blade so it can engage there and there, but basically it goes tunk into there, and then you pull it down and fling it, and it rotates like that, and then engages in another slot over here, dunk, like that. So I gotta start taking the die grinder, if I can get this off, the die grinder, and start going in there like that and clean all that out. So that's what I'm doing now. There's both the holes made roughly. Now I got to put them together and file them out so they match, and then we'll be ready to cut the slot for fitting the blade in. So the blade has to sit in between these two clamshells. So I went into my AutoCAD, and 5/8 in the middle of 2 5/8 blocks is 5/16 in. So I went ahead and I marked 5/16 in from the outside on both sides all the way around. So now I have to separate the plates, put the sorry, I'm doing this through the viewfinder. Put this on there, throw the blade on there, and mark the curve that needs to be cut in between these. But it'll make more sense when I'm showing you. Okay, so time to mark the inside curve. So this goes on here like this. So we need clearance for these two pegs to swing in and out. So curve needs to start here, go here, and then here. So we need clearance here, here. So that's the curve roughly that needs to be there. And you know, this is going to take some finessing and things like that, but so I need to cut in here and around here, take this chunk out so the blade sits sunken in. So that's what I need to do. So I went around and I marked with the grinder lightly everywhere it needs to go, because I have a feeling the Sharpie is going to disappear with the heat. So I did that on this one and that one, and now it's time to cut it out. Alright, I got most of it. I'm hoping I could just pry off the rest. Yep. Woo! There it is. Now just to clean it up and do the other one. Here we go. Looks like an axe, huh? So the next thing that I'm going to do is going to work on the mechanism. This slot has to go up a little bit more, and I have to cut the slots for on the blade, and then I got to cut the piece that goes inside. And then after that, I have to put a spring in here so you can pull that down and it shoots back up. Boom, boom, you know. And yeah, a lot of work to do still, but at least it's coming along. So, I have been working on the mechanism for a while now, and I sent a video to the customer last night because of this amount of shake in the mechanism, and then you pull this little lever down and fling it, and it, you know, it has this little bit of a shake in the locked position. And she doesn't like that, so I have to make that better. So what I was going to do is fill in some weld on the inside of this plate here, because it's shaking in the gap. See that amount of shake in there? So I have to fill in weld on the sides to make it thicker, so it doesn't have that amount of shake. But I just ran out of MIG wire in my welder, so then I was like, okay, well, what else did I do? I was like, okay, I can try bronzing the little peg here to see how that works. And it started to work, but then it turned gold. There's a little bit of copper in there. I don't know if you can see this. Right in the center there, there's a little patch of copper right at the tip of my thumb, and the rest is gold, and then there's a little bit of steel showing because I ran out of oxyacetylene. So in the meantime of me getting more oxyacetylene and more MIG wire, I'm going to start shaping the handle and the blade. So yeah, that's what we're doing now. Bah. So I just started with marking the line that carries on from this curve here all the way down, and then this gets shaped into a roundy bit, and then after I do that and on the other one, everything just gets a general roundness. This is a very organic looking axe/dagger sword thing, so everything just gets rounded over. So, but that right there gets rounded separately with a strict line on it. So that's the idea. There's a couple of, there's like 3 dimples right there that I still gotta sand out, but it's just a general roundiness to everything. I think in the end, this handle gets gun blued, but I think this part right here is going to be silver. It'll match the blade, so that'll be cool. So now I'm going to do the other one, and then I'm going to sandwich them together and do the rest of the handle so they match the curve around and everything. So yeah. Alright, that's it for part 1. If you want to see how I got to this point, and how it works and everything, go ahead and check out part 2. It should be on my channel right now, so go click it.